They send our sons to war, a cruel charade, a racket built on blood, where fortunes are made. They lie about the reasons, spin tales so tall, while heroes die for profit and empires fall. Politics a game, a circus of clowns, puppets on strings. They parade through our towns. They distract and divide us with hate as their tool, pitting brother against brother in a world they misrule. When the powers that be warn you not to go beyond the pale, then that's a sure sign there's more to the tale. Their anti-human agenda, it's plain as the day. They view us as bugs in their cold, heartless play. Eat insects, they sneer, while they feast on the land. Depopulation's their goal, with a tightening hand. Civil rights torn to shreds in the name of their peace. A police state rises where freedom's all seized. Gaslight us with propaganda, their lies never end, twisting truth in their grip till our minds start to bend. When the powers that be warn you not to go beyond the pale, then that's a sure sign there's more to the tale. Order out of chaos, their sinister creed. They spark the flame, then offer what we need. Economic stagnation, they choke out our dreams, while divide and conquer rips us at the seams. They fan every fracture, they stoke every fight, left against right, till we're blind to the light. Yet beyond their pale lies the truth they conceal, a world where we're free, where our hearts can still heal. When the powers that be warn you not to go beyond the veil, then boy, that's a sure sign there's more to the tale. So step past their warnings, their fences, their lies. See the world they've been hiding with wide open eyes. Beyond the pale, where their power grows frail, we'll reclaim our future and truth will prevail.
Hey, welcome, Hammers, to a Canada Day edition of Beyond the Pale. I am your host, Darby Ham, and it is Canada Day up here, folks. Hey, I just noticed something. My name, not sure. Oh, there you go. Yeah, so it's Canada Day. Thanks. And Matt's a Canadian, so he understands why I'm not celebrating it like I normally would have. The last few years have kind of taken the idea of really celebrating Canada Day. What for? We're owned by the frickin' Anglo-American Empire. We're nothing but a frickin' resource center for them. It's kind of tough to get behind any
We
patriotism.
got damn good maple syrup.
We do, and I'll tell you what,
Should be proud of that every day and every
and
night.
I'm proud of how we can work throughout the winter. We're, you know, so we're pretty hardy people. And Donald, you could understand you're celebrating 250 years in 3 days of the
Right.
American Empire, of the American Republic that's now become an empire. But I've noticed a lack of enthusiasm, of patriotism among rank and file Americans. It doesn't
Yeah.
feel like it's 250 like it should.
They're not treating it like it's 250. I'm sure History Channel have another marathon of American pickers or something. You think they'd be making a big deal out of it, but as I said many times before, they don't want to stress the Declaration of Independence, which is what they're celebrating.
Hey man, you got some
Because-
UFC fighting going on in your White House right now. Again,
Exactly.
beautiful stuff right there. That's
I mean, if you just read the Declaration, it reads like a subversive tract, and it's against everything that the elite stand for. So they want to just shove that to the side.
Well, I've heard there was a rumor that when the White House was first built, John Adams staged a bare knuckle boxing tournament from some slaves that Thomas Jefferson owned.
yeah. I never heard of that.
I just made it up, but it sounds appropriate.
Well, the plantation owners did used to get their slaves and have fights. I think I've had
bet on them, and bet on them, yeah. But I mean, the whole concept of idiocracy, we thought that was like, oh wait, that's a couple hundred years in the future we will get that stupid. No, no, we're there already. Just
who would have thought that was more of a documentary than a comedy?
Anyway, folks, we're here to discuss Citizen Vigilante, which I think is a monumental moment in the history of this whole freedom movement type of thing, where we're finally fighting back against the powers that ought not be. But the powers that ought not be have a plan to misdirect our energies, and this film is right up there. It's got to be the greatest psychological operation of all time, attempted psychological operation of all time. I don't think it's going to work like they hope it will, but amongst some people, it will get unstable people riled up, and God knows what could happen in copycat incidents. People don't realize that kind of thing is true. MK Ultra proved it, that you can get people to do copycat stuff. They have all kinds of those, like we heard from the hearings, they finally told, oh yeah, MK Ultra was real. Well, it doesn't exist anymore, of course. It's still around, just on another name. So you can see what's behind this, and so it's kind of scary. I'm going to now share the screen and just play the opening few minutes from the film. So I do not think we will get copyright problems, because we're just going to play clips and we're going to talk about it. So I'm going to disable your camera for a few minutes while we watch this, because I'm going to put it on the big screen. I managed to see how that works here. Hold on a second. I got to press right on. Here we go. The opening few minutes of Citizen Vigilante at the scene. All behavior can be traced, documented, Maggie.
Parents are afraid to let their children.
You notice it's world news, so it's very generic.
Mm-hmm.
Not Fox or BBC.
She sounds pretty British. Yeah,
it's a BBC vibe. Yeah,
well, of course. But if you want, it's all everywhere. BBC's, Al Jazeera have people who speak like they're on the BBC.
Play outside, and many women avoid venturing out after dark altogether.
Okay, so we're gonna get all the credits in, so they can't be mad. Hey, you're getting your credit. Semi-automatic weaponry in Europe. And then he pulls it off. He's an American Jewish person, and you'll see why later on. So okay, we get their credits. They can't be mad at me. Okay, Ivor Rodick Novak. There you go. Music by Rodolfo Matulak. German sounding names. Ethan Mangick. And director of the Uwe Boll. I mean, all these guys' names, they could be in the Gruppenführer, the SS. Field Marshal Uwe Boll. Now we can come back on screen. I just wanted to show you that there's no backstory of this guy. He's just a full-blown vigilante right from the start. And then they do this thing where they go around and interview people. How do you feel about the vigilante? And they all love him, right? Of course, because he's fighting for us, because the cops aren't doing anything. So
Batman.
Yeah. Oh, I got to turn on my computer, my camera.
You can turn your camera back on and join us now.
I can't. Oh, there it is. Okay.
So anyway,
yeah.
All right. And then that goes on, and then there's these scenes where he gets on a bus, and okay, so he's a millionaire. I'll flesh it out real quick. Spoiler alert. I don't care.
Yeah, spoil, please.
Yeah. So Armie Hammer plays a character who's 6'4", blonde hair, blue eyed Avenger of Justice, goes around walking through the parks in the middle of the day and just tasing kids and stuff like that, right? But the cops can't catch him. When they do try to catch him, he goes to a bunker and then kills a whole bunch of SWAT team members when they do try to capture him. Then afterwards, he goes to his office where he's welcomed and said, "Your father was a great man. Now you run this business." And he goes, "Okay, I want to know what's my default rate on the properties I own. 10%. Well, I want those people evicted." So before that, though, he goes to a brothel, and he picks out a prostitute, a brown skinned prostitute, I might add, an immigrant prostitute, and had sex with her. But during that sex scene, you can see his Aleph tattoo, which is a Jewish tattoo, of course, right? And he can't. He's disturbed during the sex scene because he sees some black mold up in the corner of the wall, and he stops having sex with the lady and says, "There's black mold up there." And she goes, "Why do you care?" "Well, I own this property." So he owns this property where the brothel is in. He has no problem with it, and he pays her extra for her services. It's sick and twisted. It's anti-Semitic. It's displaying this guy, Armie Hammer plays, Michael Sanders, whatever. He's an American. He's come over to claim these properties in Europe that is owned by his deceased father. He's just arrived there, but he's a U.S. Army veteran. They throw that in there. I was probably so good with guns and knives and whatever and tasers. But anyway, so that's who he is. He's an American Jewish landlord, just arrived there, doesn't like the way things are going, and starts doing vigilante justice, killing judges. And the final scene, he guns down a whole Muslim family, immigrant family, because his son was involved in a gang rape that didn't get justice for the people involved, so he said. And of course, right, and it works on every level, because in Europe, of course, these things are happening. We have this migrant invasion, and there are crimes, and there are no-go areas in certain areas. So you can understand how it plays. It plays great there amongst these people that have had enough. And so they long for this. And it's such a psychological operation. It's almost guaranteed to get the backlash they wanted. And then just after the release of this movie, we had that incident in Germany with that Turkish immigrant going crazy and killing 6 people just on cue. Come on, man. This is unbelievable. And I think this is a full court press. And I just want your opinion on that. Matt, you first, and then Don. Who would be behind this? Who stands to benefit from such a pushing of this counterculture movie?
First question I got for both of you guys: did you guys both watch the full movie?
I did.
No, I didn't.
No,
I didn't.
And plus, I tuned into Due Dissidence last night, and on their members only, Russell Dobler did a fantastic review of the show.
Oh, yeah?
Kind of, I couldn't do it any better, sort of thing. But the things I'm going to be, but he noticed that right away. Of course, the idea and Russell is a Jewish guy, right? And he says this is the most anti-Semitic thing ever. They're displaying this maniac vigilante going around gunning people down as a Jewish landlord who doesn't give anything, who cares most about the bottom line. It's
Is he
unbelievable.
portrayed, let me ask you, is he portrayed in a sympathetic way to the population who will be watching this movie, or is he treated like he's got a psychological dysfunction and shouldn't be sort of like, so
No,
how is he portrayed as a
he's
personality in the
treated as
film?
a paragon of virtue, basically.
He is. Seriously, he
Yeah.
is.
Really?
Even if he does go to a brothel to get his rocks off with an immigrant, and then he goes and kills immigrants, it's kind of showing who's behind this operation, who stands to benefit from getting all these Muslim people over to the country in the first place, and then stirring the discontent. I mean, who
Yeah.
stands?
Well, I'll go first, and I'll throw it at Don. Personally, before we jump into the who it stands to benefit side of things, I find the entire manipulative trope of the citizen vigilante concept highly manipulative and highly destructive in general. And I did, in preparation for today's show, I did rewatch a movie that I had seen many years ago, because this is part of a whole genre, right? Of the system has failed to carry out justice, and so you have the citizen, usually with some exceptional military background, who goes and just does it himself. Whether it's the Punisher from the 1975 Spider-Man comic that got turned into a very big folk hero in our current day. Many movies with Dolph Lundgren, and there's like 8 other movies over the years built around the character of the Punisher. Or whether it's Batman, right, who's just got this schism personality of an Apollonian playboy, likable character, rich boy, in the daytime living in a mansion, and then at night he goes into a completely other personality of the Dark Lord of Vengeance, the Shadow, right? Well, the Shadow itself from back in the day, in the 30s and the 40s Pulp Fiction, right? The very Shadow. Who knows what lurks in the hearts of men? The Shadow knows. And, citizen vigilante. And, it is really, really destructive for what it does to the mentality of disenfranchised, kind of nihilistic, especially men. It caters to certainly men in a dysfunctional society. And I rewatched this movie called Falling Down.
Michael Douglas.
You remember that one? Yeah. So I rewatched it last night, and I could see that a lot of the tropes, because I've read the summaries of the Citizen Vigilante. I didn't have time to go see it in the cinemas, but you really feel it's just this manipulation of just this guy who you can kind of identify with. He's kind of a victim of the system, the victim of a bad culture, and the entire time the things that are causing his life to get worse are the ignorant South Korean corner store owner that doesn't understand why he just broke psychologically, left his car and started walking towards his ex-wife's house with their daughter. He's a bit of a psychologically unstable character, not an abusive person. He hasn't gotten, not physically at least, but he's this guy just doesn't understand him and takes out a baseball bat, so he has to get violent to defend himself. But now he's got a baseball bat and he's just caused some low-level violence, but it just keeps escalating. And a Mexican gang, because it's the decay. It's happening in the late 80s with the decay of globalization, the decay of America setting in. You got pretty much the people who are causing this guy to really bend and break are Spanish gang members who want to rob him. You got the South Korean guy that doesn't understand, wants to hurt him. You got black people who are really just being the worst type of black people you could imagine. And everybody is it's expressing this destruction of the great American dream through, dark-skinned people and yellow people as your driving force. And I won't spoil the rest, but again, it is this guy who just takes the law into his own hand after abiding by the rules his whole life. So there's just so many of these things. And then to see what they're doing now in such a stark way with this character, I feel like it would be, who would benefit? I think it's really anybody who wants to see civil war across the Western world and push people who are disgusted conservatives to go a little bit more than disgusted. Right?
Yeah. Falling Down was falling down, I think, was inserted into the consciousness at that time, because that was just when free trade was rearing its ugly head and coming for everybody's jobs. The unions were getting destroyed, and all the jobs were getting shipped overseas, and all the stable career paths for middle class white men were being ripped apart, and that was falling down. Was, you can understand it, and it was done on purpose to kind of harness that energy. So what are they harnessing the energy now for this? This is far darker. This is not, and this is not Batman or the Flash. This is not superhero fiction stuff where you can take that step of disbelief and believe that could happen in this alternate universe called Gotham or whatever. This is this universe. This is what we're going through right now. These things are happening. There are immigrants coming to these countries. They're committing crimes. They're not assimilating. It's happening. And it's being done on purpose. And we know who's driving it. And we have to wake our fellow travelers up to educate people not to fall for this, because what they want is chaos. They want riots, because their whole motto, these people, is ordo ab chaos. Order out of chaos. If you give the chaos to them, they're ready to impose their order. And this is nothing organic, especially when they pretend to ban it in Germany. Oh no, it must be really, really good if they're banning it. But as soon as they announce that it's banned, Elon makes it free for everybody. Of course, they really push it. It's easy to find if you want to.
Oh, did he? Is that what he did on X? Did he? I thought he just promoted it on X, but he actually he let you watch it on X.
Yes, and then a whole bunch of his subs, the people who service him online, posted it themselves, so you can find it anywhere if you want. Sometimes it's being taken down, and then somebody else will post it, but it's always up there. It's always ready to watch. And they're already talking about Citizen Vigilante 2. And in this movie, they give hints that they are going to do a Citizen Vigilante 2, because there's certain scenes where it looks like he's been arrested by the police, and he's talking he's giving evidence, and that's setting up the next film. And they do that pretty early on too in the narrative. So they already have Citizen Vigilante 2 ready to go. This is bullshit. OV Bowl is saying, I'm fundraising for Citizen Vigilante 2. If you want to see it, keep watching this film. It's like unbelievable, over the top, obvious psychological operation. What do you think, Don, just from the idea of that alone?
Yeah, well, and the idea goes back. I mean, I remember all the 1970s movies with Charles Bronson. He was always, usually it wasn't a political thing, but, he was always going after people that killed his family or whatever, things like that, and inventing all these things. So that it goes, Bernie Getz in real life on the New York subway. So these things are real, and certainly a Batman is right there with Bruce, with the vigilante. But I find the timing interesting, because first of all, I didn't realize that it basically is because we in America we have an immigration problem, but it's largely from South America. And it's more, I mean, there are some crime problems, but it's more the effect on tapping resources and lowering wages. So it's kind of maybe not as dramatic as what's happening in Europe, I assume, with the Muslim rape gangs. And I don't know that they're running around and just cutting people's throats for no reason like that, but that's dramatic. But the timing is interesting in America, because this is right as basically TAPS is playing over whatever Trump was trying to do with immigration. Supreme Court just ruled against him on his Supreme Court on birthright citizenship, which was, that was one of the only good things he tried to do when he introduced that executive order. So, and he's given up on mass deportation. So I guess this is a replacement for that. And I think that, the MAGA voters out there, they'll just be happy to see people gunning down immigrants, and they're still here in real life. And, it's really odd that this guy's a Jewish hero, because, we know that, as you mentioned, you kind of alluded to that Jewish groups have pushed open borders in these countries. The migrants went there because of those kind of policies. They pushed this, and only to white countries. Nobody pushed migrants on China or Japan or India.
To take 1 million Ukrainians, damn you Chinese people.
But why not? I mean, isn't that, and diversity? I mean, China has no diversity at all. Shocking lack of diversity. But nobody thinks that it's only for white countries. So there's a point to be made there. But I doubt this movie makes it, and the fact that I think it'll be misdirected, kind of like the Michael Douglas movie was. But I'm surprised to hear he's a a totally sympathetic character, and Elon Musk being involved kind of muddies the water too, because of course Musk was in the Trump administration briefly, and during the best part of it, when it looked like maybe some interesting things, Doge and stuff would be going on. He's kind of a wild card, but unfortunately, it's being misdirected because, as you mentioned, or as I mentioned, the immigrants didn't. They came here with help. These migrants, because I always talk about, like lots of people come from Haiti. Haiti's an incredibly poor country. Where are they getting the money to travel here? Somebody's sponsoring this, and a lot of times they're showing up with designer clothes and iPhones and things like that. There's clearly a coordinated effort. We see in our country all those fighting age males that show up without women, without, what is that? They're all migrating together.
They shut that down, proving they could have shut the border down anytime they wanted.
Oh, sure. Yes. Yeah. Trump, he did shut the border down finally after however many millions came across, and they're not being deported. But so, when you see these kinds of things happening, it's coordinated. And it's not, as I said back in the day when we started seeing bilingual signs showing up in Florida and Texas and places like that, they weren't immigrants that the Hispanics didn't put those signs up. Hispanics didn't print bilingual ballots. Hispanics didn't, they were encouraged not to assimilate. In our school systems, you probably have it there too. We have English as a second language, and it's almost exclusively for Hispanics because they want that cheap labor. And if they don't learn English, it assures maybe generational cheap labor. So, but no one talks about that instead. And it's natural that because the poor and working classes, they're the ones in our country, at least, are impacted by that. They're going to resent the immigrants themselves. And so it's misdirected. And it's just unfortunate that Trump, you could have predicted, was unable, because this was the first person we've had since Pat Buchanan that really talked about it. And you'll probably have another person maybe that'll fake talk about it in Canada. And you've got people in England and France, and maybe there'll be more now because this is kind of directed towards them. And they'll be, and I do say, I don't know what's really going on over there, but I've seen the videotape. I guess it was a white kid in the UK that got killed or something, and they wouldn't treat him or something. But I think Tucker Carlson, a lot of people made
the kid got stabbed by the Sikh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were the cops on the beat just fucked up majorly, right?
Yeah.
But then of course they tried to cover it up, which made it worse. Then when it came out, it came out in such a fashion that it spawned riots. That's just, it seems to me like that's how they want these stories to come out, because they want the disorder.
Well, the focus should be on the
racist people. How dare they?
Well, and the focus should be on the cops who appear, and the judges, and we have in our country too, who appear to be trained. Like in our country, we have the same Jewish judge in Florida who let off a black habitual offender that had been in there for many kind of violent crimes. She, gave him smiled and talked pleasantly to him and everything, gave him a slap on the wrist. She's now going after a Hispanic college student woman who made a joke about Bibi Netanyahu, and her demeanor is completely different. She wants to throw the book at this girl. So that's where the focus should be on. Why are you doing that? Why are the cops in England? Why would you automatically side with the Sikhs or the Muslim, whoever? It would side with the other side, especially if they really are doing something violent.
Because they're being trained that way.
Yeah, and why? Who's training them? And that should be the focus.
They openly talk about it. They get that DEI training, and it's pounded into their heads, and they're afraid not to be. They're afraid to be. Their superiors may be minorities at this point and hold that power over them, and so they're going to play along to get along. Just following orders.
Yeah, I was thinking about the storming of the Bastille.
Yeah,
if you look at the trigger that really turned any potential positive of the French Revolution, that was emulating the best examples of the American Revolution in 1789, because a lot of the reason why the American Revolution happened was because you had collaboration with a network of people who had been built up around the work of Benjamin Franklin and company, like what's his name, Lavoisier, the great scientist statesman, Jean Sylvain Bailly, the astronomer, mayor of France, but Marquis de Lafayette, so many others. Where they built up a network where they organized to get support for the U.S. cause that made this impossible thing occur. of the world's biggest global empire that was defeated, at least in that battle. I wouldn't say the war, by this otherwise a citizen's army, more ragtag by far, an impossible outcome. I mean, from a statistical point of view. But then why did it fail to replicate its successes in France? Well, it was working okay to a certain extent for the first 6 months, and then the Bastille happens, and what instigates this Jacobin terror, this bloodbath, where like 50,000 people lose their heads, good people, bad people, everybody lose their heads, and it goes into civil war for like 3 years or 4 years before Napoleon comes in to sort of be introduced as the synthesis to the chaos.
So what you're saying, there was a psy-op that spurned it, right? That started.
Well, the soldiers at the Bastille were told to fire on the citizens who were encamped outside of this prison, and they had no reason to start shooting cannonballs into the mobs that were just sitting there. They weren't necessarily going to get violent and storm, but they needed a spark, and the spark was provided when some stupid soldiers said, "Okay, I guess I'll follow this order I've been given and just shoot cannonballs into the crowd, killing a few dozen people." But then that was the trigger where then they just rushed it. And by the end of that day, there were like, all of the soldiers were killed with their heads on spikes, all the prisoners let loose, and any positive potential that you could have had the day earlier was gone. At that point, you're in a new dimension of hell on earth. And I feel like something similar. Most of the cops on the ground probably don't have a clue. Like you said, they're being trained with bad woke conditioning. They're being given orders they don't understand.
And you know what also is a danger of that, because when that did happen, when the French Revolution did start off, ordinary citizens started turning on their neighbors who had lorded it over them under the other regime, but now under the new regime, they were encouraged to rat out their neighbors as to being they're secretly like the king. And that happens too. So you're going to see in any kind of situation like that, it never goes according to the best laid plans, because it spirals out of control. I think the biggest reason the American independence worked and didn't have and have never had kings or anything but have presidents is that early on, in their own way, America enacted a monarchy through financial gain, through the financial system, right? So you have these banking families that might as well be royalty because they control everything year after year after year after year. They might as well be monarchs.
I did, but I think you had what made the American Revolution or War for Independence unique is that you had the 1%ers of their day who led the revolution. I mean, you had all those John Hancock, Sam Adams, these were Jefferson, Washington. They were the richest people in America.
And Britain was really overstretched. They were fighting a global war against the French at the time. Remembers that they were just throwing their back alley dregs off the streets with Cockney accents. You got to get to America. Why?
Yeah, I didn't think. I think they probably
Hessian mercenaries there.
Oh yeah, the Hessian mercenaries.
Yeah, you had the Minutemen, and you had the first example of guerrilla warfare, which the Brits were coming in marching and soldierly and fighting like gentlemen, that kind of thing. And the Americans weren't. They were hiding behind trees. And
compared to the wars that were going on in Europe, as the people the rest is history. Dominic and Tom Holland talk about the American Revolution was a series of skirmishes compared to what was going on in Europe. Even the biggest battles were just small, little tiny affairs, really.
Yeah.
And I know there's some people that don't believe that the American Revolution ever actually attained what it wanted, and that in some time, certainly early on, British agents were implanted. Matt knows all about this. And in the 1880s, after the Civil War, they did something in 1883 that kind of put them under control of these monarchical-like banking systems that have direct ties to royalty in Europe, the old black nobility. I mean, I think we've never really shaken it, although we like to think we have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, anyway. I mean, it's one of these unresolved things. People act like the American Revolution was the big success, and it was like, yeah, it was. It shouldn't be downplayed. It was quite the incredible thing that it happened the way it did, but it wasn't a full success at all. It was really a battle in a much larger war. And the very fact that so many American presidents got killed while sitting in that position.
Yeah.
When they were all, if you look at the common denominator amongst all the 4 that died by bullet and the 4 that died by poisoning, they're all picking a fight with the exact same fifth column apparatus that's been baked into the heart of the United States since the moment the peace declaration was, actually even really before that, right? Like the whole like John D. Francis Bacon Hellfire Club operations inside of the U.S. started in the days of the colonies. This is the type of shit that Jr. was dealing with in the Massachusetts Bay Colony. With
I remember one commentator said the United States of America is nothing but the East India Company realized.
Well, I mean, it's a little
as a nation state.
I mean, I like nuance. I
I know.
They use. Yeah. There's that. There's the British East India loyalists that stayed behind, because I feel you got the stay behinds that. Well, you got the United Empire loyalists that created Canada.
Yeah.
And then you got the stay behinds, kind of like the Gladio stay behinds. You had the same things that remained loyal to the East India Company in heart, but they acted like patriots on the surface in order to subvert it from within.
New York was notoriously British. Boston was too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where the British.
Rhode Island.
Yeah. But they quickly. Go ahead.
Well, no, I think that the beauty of the good, the greatness, the timeless greatness of the War for Independence was that Declaration of Independence and the movement that we're going to, because the ideals in there that first of all that they're
Bill of Rights.
The Bill of Rights made the Constitution palatable, because I almost everybody that supports me hates it when I support the Constitution, because they're all Articles of Confederation people. And the more I look at it, it's probably true that that would have been better, because that was such a loose-lit thing, But the Bill of Rights, separation of powers, made the Constitution palatable. The problem is right from the very beginning with John Marshall, he came up with judicial review, which still plagues us today. We just a decision of the Supreme Court recently. The judiciary violated the separation of powers because they have way too much power from the beginning. And starting with Lincoln, the first imperial presidency, so does the executive, and the legislative is the weak sister. They're by far the weakest branch. So if they were equal branches, we'd have a much bigger chance. But I like the idea of the consent of the government. I don't know. I think that was a pretty novel concept when they talked about that people everywhere have a right to consent to those who govern them, and if they don't agree to it, they have a right to alter or abolish it, which Abraham Lincoln apparently never heard or didn't agree with. And I think 1860, I think with the Second American Revolution, RB talked about whatever happened in 1883. It happened in 1860. In 1865, the original, whatever was there with the original United States was gone, because the United States was a plural before that. They used to say the United States are. It became a singular afterward. The United States is, and that's the way it's been ever since. And when you have a revolution or war for independence, and your foundational issue is the consent of the governed, regardless of why they no longer consented, those states in the South didn't consent in 1860. They no longer wanted to be a part of it. So by forcing them to stay, you've made it, well, no, you have to consent. So the foundation, so I think that's the problem we still have as we look at that, and we can't get quite past that we're on that snag where the reason for being. Now, it's never going to be erased. The 250th anniversary, nobody's going to talk about the consent of the governed, because obviously they don't want that, and they haven't wanted it since then. But they're not going to talk about any of these issues. They might talk about Sally Hemings and Thomas Jefferson. They mention him at all. They might, I don't know what, maybe they'll talk about Alexander Hamilton because they love him, because he's he's a hit Black Broadway star, and he was the banker's favorite founding father. They might talk about him, but nobody else. And they might talk about how slaves were only a fraction of a human being. They're not going to talk about the foundational issues, or why they were so upset over these pretty small taxes. And they resented the power and they wanted to throw off what they thought was tyranny, which is nothing compared to the tyranny we see now. And they don't want people to be reminded of, so we were born when we threw off tyranny. Does that give me an idea?
Yeah. A quick question for you. Have you seen the movie Idiocracy with the Mike Judge?
Sure. Of course, yeah.
So what happens culturally when the people are induced to become so stupid that they think Gatorade is better than water? And does the idea of the consent of the governed still hold weight when everybody believes, the consensus belief popularly is that Gatorade is better than water to feed your crops?
Well, I don't think anybody could have conceived in 70s that people could be that dumb, I guess. And it was still kind of a landowner class, and they did not want any democracy. They only wanted property owners to vote to begin with, only males, only property owners. And I don't know if that's right or wrong. I mean, I don't know, but I do know that when they gave women the right to vote, they changed it. And however you look at it.
Here we go. We're touching that third rail.
Well, no, I mean, well, they've shown, again, however you look at it, they vote differently, and they vote way differently. And they've shown that
if Beata was on right now, she'd go, I remember Beata, or my tinfoil hat lady.
Oh, yeah, she doesn't want them to have the right to vote, right?
Yeah, she says, I'm perfectly fine with women not being able to vote.
Yes, most of the women
blame it all on the men.
Yeah, exactly.
And I could blame it all on the men. Yeah. This whole shit could be just properly blamed on the men. We can take responsibility for our own fuck-ups.
They've shown that. I'm not saying it would be better, but if just for men voting, every state in the union, even California apparently, would be red. And if it's just women voting, every state in the union would be blue. If that's
what does
true,
it mean? Like red means different things in different ages, you know?
Well,
like
but as far as now.
JFK was a blue, he was a Democrat, but his party.
I think they came up with that name red just to, because they used to call communists red. So,
I know exactly when red came into the Republican lexicon. After 9/11. All of a sudden, Republicans were red and Democrats were blue.
No, they were already. Didn't they use the color red already under
Reagan? They always
used
those colors, but now they actually talked about them in the colors. Before it was always Democrats or Republicans. The red, calling them red and blue, didn't start happening until after 9/11.
What about the elephant and the donkey? What about the elephant and the donkey? When did those start?
That's a long time. That's
Thomas Nast in the 1860s, the political cartoonist. The donkeys, because they refused to move, they were ornery, and they refused to move the way you wanted them to. And the Republicans is the elephant, because they were they moved when they wanted to. Democrats moved only if you had to hit them, but Republicans forget it. They're elephants; they go where they want to go.
That is pretty funny.
That's where it comes from. But anyway, we're way off track. My God.
Not really, because we're dovetailing around the Civil War, and they're going for Civil War 2.0 across. So it's kind of, the theme is kind of hovering over the conversation, whether we walked right into it in some way.
I wanted to screen share this because I find this very interesting. I want your guys' opinions on it. So, of course, during the course of the film, he does do he does do vigilante justice. At one point, he does something really good. In one of the bars he owns, he sees two guys roofing two girls' drinks, and he switches the glasses so the guys get knocked out. So try to weave that he's a good guy. He's actually a good guy because he didn't let these two white women get raped by these two Italian-looking people. Anyway, but I want to play this because this happens about halfway through the film. They get some evidence on him or whatever, and they track him down, and they're going to his house with the SWAT team. Well, watch this. And now this is a guy that's supposed to be, law and order, justice, and all that, but he wipes out a whole squadron of SWAT team. Now the SWAT teams are raiding vigilantes' home bases, but this is pretty remarkable. Watch this. I mean, talk about Uwe Boll over the top violence.
Occult Wiccan, like the antler horns twice on the walls there. So you got two antler horns there. You got a painting of the antler horn on another.
Thank you, Matt. I needed your
You're very observant, boy.
Yeah, and then you have a painting on the wall of what looks to be like a not that painting. You'll see it on the other wall. The lady's blonde hair is covering the other wall right now, but you'll see it in a second. Yeah, that painting.
Yeah,
looks like some sort of a knight on a white horse motif. Like that Saint Michael killing the dragon thing. Maybe I'm not too sure. There's probably
there's
some meaning there too.
Barking at the moon. Oh, it looks like Sauron, the all-seeing eye over here.
Yeah, there's probably some occult significance with that as well.
Very much so, obviously.
Yeah. And just wait.
What's the matter?
There we go. There's another deer.
Antelope in the headlights.
Yeah. Again, that is really big for witch covens and occultism. Is the
why do you always say covens? I've always said covens.
I say covens. I don't know. I just read. I'm a reader, so I mispronounce things.
Yeah, and you said and it's Edinburgh.
Long O for Canadians. Don't you guys say offense?
We're arguing over semantics. Hold on. Mine goes immediately. Those goddamn freeloaders. How dare
It's
they?
very, very Shylocky, eh? Like the law.
Oh,
It's all about the
I
literal
mean,
word of the
like
law.
Russell said, this has got to be the most anti-Semitic character. Shakespeare couldn't have done any better.
Yeah. I want my pound of flesh.
Fuck, he knows how much money he's owed.
€1,000 that people are stealing.
Look at his eyes right now. Look at the intensity. God damn it, I don't work for a living. I inherited this wealth, and god damn it. Oh, he's got a plan for the courts, folks.
More than that.
Oh, and that's what instigates him to kill the justices? Like the
Oh
judges?
no, what instigates him to kill the judges is there's a gang rape of a white girl by Muslims, and the judge lets him off. Kills the judge, and then he goes and kills the family later. We're getting to that. Don't step on the this isn't but I think this is the most important part. This is the ownership class. These are these people, the 1%, you know, we are the 99%. These are the guys we're fighting against, and he's being portrayed as the hero. Okay? Here we go.
So you'll start.
Here comes the father issues. I wanted you guys to see this. He never saw his dad. He was a rich businessman, off all the time. Hardly ever saw him. Send him to military school. But he's going to take over his company and keep it running, even though, you know, this is where they're trying to introduce some kind of psychological depth. And now he's from the United States Military Academy. That's West Point. Michael Sanders. So that's why he's so good with guns. They want to really drill that into you. He's an American on vacation in Europe, conducting vigilante justice. Normally,
maybe a vigilante in his own country.
That's the same thing for the Punisher too. The Punisher character as well is also U.S. Special Forces. Bad things happen to him and his family. He saw his family die. Blah blah blah. So, and then he uses all of his skills built up in the army to go and do vigilante justice. And yeah,
but no bad things have ever happened to this guy, except he was forced to join the army where he learned his trade. So you know. Anyway.
Let's see. This theme is again. We talked about it. Goes back, and Matt talked about it, and I talked about how long this theme of the system not working, not protecting the people, and we saw a SWAT team there. SWAT teams have been the police have been militarized since I think the 80s, certainly since the 90s. So we have police presence everywhere. We have outrageous conduct, cops gone wild, and yet they can't do something about these huge. They purposely, I think, they don't do anything about these huge problems. Just like we can't. You know, the example I use, if you remember, Ron DeSantis, as a joke, sent a handful of migrants to, I think it was Martha's Vineyard a few years ago. I wrote a comedy piece on Substack about it. It was received pretty well because it was laughable. I think there were maybe 10 at the most migrants that showed up in this elite community. It created such an uproar against the good woke liberals who suddenly had the migrants in their midst, and they we didn't ask for this. They got the Republican governor to come bring the National Guard in the same day within a couple hours, and they were gone. The system can work.
Well, they gave them lots of presents, and they had a bake sale, and they sent them off with a smile on their face, saying, "We're good liberals. You just can't stay here." That's not how you direct. That's not how you fix this problem. How you fix this problem is you got to go back to the inner cities. You got to give housing to these people in the inner cities. Don't give them jobs, just give them housing, and stack them into freaking 4x4 apartments.
Projects.
Have you guys watched the film with the John Carpenter movie They Live with Roddy Piper?
Sure.
Who hasn't? If you haven't, you haven't. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, it's I only up until like a few months ago, I'd only watched that famous clip of the sunglasses of like Obey. But then I watched the whole thing, and it's really useful because I think that's what they want. I think John Carpenter himself. I looked at his filmography, his career. He seems to be a Gnostic initiate, and all of his films kind of follow a Gnostic template in varying degrees, in ways that would surprise you, kind of like a Steven Spielberg type. When you look at his whole filmography, every film that he does, whether all have an occult, demonological, ET, God, pedophile underpinning to them. They're all nudging in the same direction. AI, Overlord, blah blah blah. So same thing for John Carpenter. It seems like he's one of these vetted shaman types who are like vetted to cast a spell with creative writing onto the scenarios built up. In this one film, They Live, the thing itself has a guy who you could see he's he's kind of like just one of these dudes who just believed in the system naively, realized globalization doesn't give a fuck. It's all corrupt. It's out to get you. His life has been destroyed. His family's been broken down. He lost his job, and now he's like wandering, trying to get work. He's getting his ass kicked. And then finds himself pulled into like this pre-internet Alex Jones type of conspiracy subterfuge radio channel being organized by these evangelical churches that he finds himself sucked into. A guy who never like thought critically about the system. Now all of a sudden he's like thinking about international Illuminati conspiracies and realizes that like the world has been infiltrated by shape-shifting aliens from Sirius that have been working with the Rockefeller and DuPont and other elites to create globalization, global warming, all of this stuff in order to depopulate the world. That's actually the topic. And he stumbles on these underground tunnels under New York, which are probably partially true. I mean, we know that there are these things. And then listens in on this celebration in this like underground gala with like David Rockefeller and one of the emissaries of the overlord alien class of shapeshifters, talking about their successes. And he basically becomes a domestic terrorist. Like the guy himself starts picking up a gun. He fights with a cop, takes their gun, shoots the cops. He goes into like a bank, kills like half the people in the bank with his special glasses. Cause now you know that these look like people. They scream like people, but they're actually aliens, so it's okay. And then he goes into like other places and does like mass shootings, but it's okay. It's okay because he's the good guy, and these are actually subhuman aliens. But it felt like the same kind of like psychological nudging, which is capturing people who are being disenfranchised, nihilistic by the abuses of this evil system that has all of this reality of this Orwellian kind of thing. But they're trying to nudge people towards this more radicalized, violent archetype. And I feel like so many movies, now that I'm looking for it, I'm seeing it everywhere. And the citizen vigilante thing is like the most clearest expression of that. But that's what they want, is for people to, start thinking, whether it's by reading Alex Jones or whatever, that the enemy is, actually not human. So it's not such a big deal if you start shooting them up and killing them. Because you're not shooting humans, you're actually it's something else that you're killing. Here's
the end of the film, a very famous one. I'm going to play it, and everybody can watch this. You don't have to. Warning: some senseless violence is going to happen, and then I will talk a little bit about it.
Yes.
Go fuck yourself, invader scum.
Oh no! This is the worst movie ever.
Shoots the son next.
Go back to wherever you
Shoots the daughter.
came from. Saw a lady
Weird. Oh, God.
Boom.
Jesus Christ! I just saw that.
Okay, so the back.
What did you do, RB? Why did you put that in my head?
Okay, and before that, he comes into the house and he said, and the father answers the door. Oh, by the way, that father, the character who plays the father there, who we just got shot, an actor named Fairs Munge. And Pat King did an interview with him yesterday, Matt.
And how'd that go?
I watched a little bit of it. They had technical difficulties. I couldn't see through it to the end, but I could tell that poor Fairs Munge might be regretting the way he's being portrayed in this film. He thought he might have been fooled into thinking, it wouldn't be as badly received as I don't know what. But anyway, but the fact that Pat King got an interview with a guy that's in one of the hottest movies ever, I'm starting to wonder what's going on there. I mean, I didn't immediately get chances to interview any of these actors. How would you even foray yourself into that? But anyway, so the father gets killed because, the son got off, right? The son was part of the rape gang. He got off. And his lawyers got him off, and he even talks to them about that beforehand, saying, yeah, but the lawyers told us we were just doing what our lawyers told us, and the lawyers got us off. What am I supposed to do? You're supposed to show some remorse. And the sister is targeted because apparently she, on Twitter or on social media, she said the white girl deserved it because of the way she dressed. So, of course, now she's going to be killed for what
she's
she
got to die now, of course. Yeah.
And the mom, well, guess what? You birthed these vermin, so you're also.
Yeah.
Well, what I find is that the theme in all these, again, all vigilante movies, and unless I'm mistaken, There has never been one where, if I was right, I think would be much more interesting if you had the vigilante or vigilante groups go after real power. It's just like when somebody goes postal, they usually shoot their coworkers. And nobody, until that guy shot the CEO of the healthcare company a few years ago, it's the first time anybody's ever done that. That's why it got so much attention. But
Don, let's not get carried away there.
Yeah. But I mean, it is. But I mean, it was. But in something like this, why, somebody's infuriated again. They're intelligent enough to know why this is happening. So why how come there's never any vigilante films like with these vigilantes going into Congress or something?
I want to see Epstein vigilante. That's what I want to see.
But they do have the thing though, right? Where this kid did shoot the CEO of the shitty.
Right. I said that until that.
The only thing, but I think that's a setup too. I think that's a psy-op because
a lot of people think that was a psy-op, but that was
the kid was obsessed. The kid had clearly been deconstructed psychologically by an operation because he was obsessed.
He went to that Stanford psychological
number 87, 82.
He was in Stanford, and they have that whole psychological MK Ultra thing going on.
Smells of MK Ultra heavily, and you could see that. And there's movies that A24, the A24 studio did this movie that seems to have created the archetype of this kid in 2022, Under the Silver Lake, which I've seen twice now.
Good movie.
That's a useful movie. I mean, everything A24 does.
A lot of truth drops about there about who wrote the. Did you ever think maybe the story we were told about who wrote the Beatles' music might be wrong?
Oh yeah, it's like the Doors too, right? Like the fact that Jim Morrison comes out with like 94 songs already written all at once, never does more films after more songs after these. Like it's like who packaged them into this Dionysian god avatar. And why was it a year earlier before he comes out into the public? He was this clear-cut kid on the ship that would eventually spark the Vietnam War.
His father was the head of the Gulf of Tonkin.
So what the hell happened? Who are the psychiatrists managing this guy? What were the occult agencies that were deconstructing him and convincing him that he was like this channeler of this new age of Dionysius? Like, who did that to him? But I think you're right. Like the Under the Silver Lake movie with that figure who wrote all of the Beatles songs, who gets his head bashed in. That movie is fascinating. But that kid starts seeing it's like he's being initiated into an MK Ultra like quest, like a 21st century Templar quest with these which is all based upon like the idea of the cult of the divine feminine, which erotically stimulates him because he has to know who this mysterious girl was that he wanted to bugger, and it causes him to start seeing meaning in all of these different symbols that are left behind, to the point that he traces down this whole story, which is very similar to what they actually do in the real world as far as faking their death. When you have a higher level person like John.
You guys say bugger in Canada? I thought that was an English term.
I don't know. I watch American TV. Maybe
we say bugger all the time
and British TV.
Really? Okay. Yeah, I thought that was
my dad
Monty Python lately.
Bugger all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's common across English. One thing about Canada is outside of Quebec, we're very English, and
we're part of the British Empire. We're part of the British Empire.
Part of the British Empire. All that stuff. I'm so old. My grandma used when she smoked a cigarette, she said, "I'm going to go have my fag." So
Oh, really? That was not palatable in my generation. That was
that's what they used to call it.
But did you guys look into the Arm & Hammer family at all?
Okay, hold on a second. Before we do that, I want to do this because I want to keep it on track here. Now, this is the best review I found online about this, and it's a guy after my own heart. His name is Nick Griffin.
Beyond the pale.
England.
Oh, you got to sue him.
No. He's an English. He's an English
Take
guy.
him for everything he's worth and become part of the.
He's part of the
property class.
He's part of the British National Party. He broke the 2004 rape gang story.
Oh.
Okay, he's the one who broke it. But he's anti-Zionist, so he's been canceled by the Nigel Farages of the world. So he's carrying on boldly, like I am, like marginalized. We're the true patriots, but because we actually call out the whole problem behind the powers that ought not be, he became fast out of favor. But this is an awesome review of this show because he gets it 100%. Before you get too excited about this film, ask yourself why it even exists. Its director is the maker of notoriously bad films whose total losses of 20 million pounds may finally be overturned by the huge appeal of this one to angry young men with a lot to be angry about as it happens. One of his earlier films was a brutally graphic promotion of the horrors of the Holocaust, for which he believes all Germans are guilty and most must atone forever. Star Armie Hammer is the grandson of Armand Hammer, the Jewish bankster who helped the early Bolshevik regime tighten its deadly grip on Russia. Citizen Vigilante is distributed by Quiver, owned and run by Jeff Sackman and Barry Meyerowitz. I did a quick look up of these guys, and guess what?
More non-Irish.
I was gonna. You beat me to it. It is being pushed on social media by Tommy Robinson, Mossad adjacent Tommy Robinson, and every single one of the Zionist-funded counter-jihad influencers who favor mass immigration from India and Africa, as long as they're not Muslims and will integrate. That is, make babies with your sisters and daughters or be our prostitutes. This hymn to racial violence is available through Jeff Bezos' Amazon, which refuses to sell totally truthful books by genuine nationalists. So the exact same machine, which has spent decades striving to undermine white ethnic consciousness, fill our people with guilt and cowardice, and suppress opposition to mass immigration, suddenly wants young men, white men fighting mad. Think about that.
Yep.
Boom.
Yep.
That just encapsulates it all.
Well said.
If this was Mel Gibson starring, then I might look at it differently. But Armie Hammer, this is the guy who is pretty much a walking endorsement of cannibalism. Didn't he like? I thought he destroyed his career when he started.
We're teeing you up. What did you find out about Mr. Armie Hammer, Matt?
Well, no, Don first. Don brought it up. So, Don, you go.
Well, I just remember he said something where he alluded to, cannibalism, which we now know apparently is something our wonderful leaders like to enjoy. Not the deepest, darkest tribes in Africa, but, the one percenters. And I thought that he kind of was maybe not blacklisted, but I thought it kind of messed his movie career up. But
yeah, it did.
No. You got to hear this. Did you know this is a true story? While his career was on hold, he went to the Cayman Islands and became a timeshare manager.
Yeah.
While he waited it out. Think about that.
So
I don't think he's acting in this film. I think that's who he is.
No, the guy's a broken person. And I think, there's a partial, I've got a weird feeling when I look through this guy's background, his family background, his disaster of a life that he's been living, and there's this weird mixture of a feeling of disgust and pity that I feel for this guy. it's such a walking mess, and you're right. Like his career kind of tanked, and he's being rehabilitated now, clearly heavily being rehabilitated. But in 2020, all of this information came out just as in the midst of his divorce. He had 2 kids with this girl, and they divorced, seemed all amicable. But then what comes out is that this one woman that he was clearly having an affair with, there's pictures of him and her together while he's married, that are surfacing. And she comes out saying that, he, by the way, not only abused me, but was obsessed with cannibalizing me and eating my blood and and try to convince me to cut off my flesh to cook it to eat me. And people thought, but that's just one lady and she might be crazy. Maybe she's going for money. But then other women started coming out with their own pictures of him and them. And he had this whole stable of these women that he was maintaining, where he was rabidly, uncontrollably texting them about wanting to break off their ribs and barbecue them. And there's one quote where he says I'm a 100% a cannibal. And all of this shit comes out and it becomes very public. And his career, he loses a lot of contracts that he thought he was going to have in around 2020, early 2021. COVID's hitting, he's going to the Cayman Islands, becoming a timeshare manager, whatever the fuck that is.
It did work.
Yeah, he kept earning, Matt. He owes somebody for getting him out of all this shit. And I think we know who he owes.
It seems this guy, he's born into massive wealth. The Hammer family, we all know. He
was a billionaire, Hammer was.
Huh?
Oh, yeah. The Armie Hammer fortune is famous. I mean, he's
man. They got the Armie Hammer Foundation. They were pushing modern arts.
Do you remember when when the Cosby Show was on? I remember something about Arm & Hammer was still alive then. I guess he lived to be like 100, so like all the
Yeah,
evil
89.
people.
He lived till 1990 or so. So and he's born
Yeah.
in like 1898 or something. So
Okay, so
old.
90s, but he for some reason he made, I want to say, more than one appearance on the Cosby Show. It was bizarre. Like he was playing,
Really?
and I remember saying, "Wait, what is that evil guy doing on the Cosby Show?" It's like,
Interesting.
look it up.
I didn't know
it's
that.
very
Yeah, I
strange.
will.
Yeah.
That's. I know that he sponsored Al Gore's father, Al Gore Sr. as a
Sure.
senator. He sponsored his career and then bought him to become a vice president of Oriental Petroleum in the 60s, 70s, 80s. And then Al Gore brings him to a special gala with the George Bush Sr. And when George Bush is the president. So Al Gore is, it seems like from what little I've read just today, this is all like stuff I'm just encountering because I knew we were going to talk about this, so I did a bit of homework, like for 2 hours. Yeah, but yeah, like Arm & Hammer was already sponsoring Al Gore's career when he was running these coal mine operations in Tennessee, and but like you said, he was known as Lenin's banker. The guy Julius,
Mr. Capitalist.
Arm & Hammer's father is Julius Hammer. Julius Hammer is the co-founder of the Bolshevik Party USA, and then in 1919, the Communist Party USA. He's like apparently the member number one. He has the first membership card, and he's working with what's his name in 1907. He sets up this previous thing called the Socialist Party USA or something, and the guy he sets it up with is this guy named Daniel de Leon. Daniel de Leon is of the direct lineage of Moses de Leon. The guy who like creates this forgery of the Zohar back in the Middle Ages, that Moses de Leon has a lineage that goes straight to Daniel de Leon, who's working with Julius Hammer, the father of Armand, who creates this weird occult socialist operation in America in 1908. And then
Arby found it. I was right, Arby.
Arm & Hammer. Yep, Arm & Hammer.
Why would he be a guest star on the Cosby Show? What the hell?
Arm & Hammer appeared on.
Ridiculous.
Let me read this. Arm & Hammer appeared on the Cosby Show as a guest star in the 1988 episode titled "The Visit." The multimillionaire industrialist, art collector, and philanthropist made a surprise cameo acting debut on television at the age of 89. In this episode,
what was the storyline that they introduced this guy? Did he play himself, or did he play somebody else?
I have to
Friend
click
of the
on
family
else to find out more about that. If you're looking for more, in the episode, Dr. Cliff Huxtable, played by Bill Cosby, and his family handled various domestic storylines. And Hammer's brief appearance served as a highly publicized pop culture moment of the late 1980s. And okay,
weird.
Just an odd choice.
It's a very odd thing, eh?
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna have to do this for my audience because they'll all be as curious as me. I hope this doesn't screw up.
So it's gonna charge you to get.
I hope it's not behind a paywall.
Probably.
TV and video. Los Angeles Times. Philanthropist Arm & Hammer makes his acting debut in the January 21st episode of The Cosby Show called "The Visit." In a segment taped last week, Hammer played the grandfather of a cancer patient and benefactor of a hospital's cancer research department. So he played himself. In real life, Hammer is serving a sixth term as chairman of the president's cancer panel and personally awards $100,000 to the scientists who've done the most each year to advance cancer research or to continue continue it because they make a lot of money continuing the cancer.
Yeah.
Hammer said he considers the role a launching point for a campaign to raise $1 billion for cancer research.
It was propaganda. Okay, that fit right into what he was doing with Reagan.
And I won't pocket any of it. Swear to God, because I don't need it. But if you can't pay the rent, you're out.
Yeah.
Army Hammer is weird, man. Like, no, this guy's he's born into this weird household. His grandfather, Julian Hammer, shot a guy in 1955. His friend, he shot in the house.
I'm pretty sure. Him. Oh yeah, they can get away with murder.
And then got off completely scot-free. Just this guy like owed him some money, and he just like killed him. But he's a billionaire, so he's gonna get off free. And this kid is born into already such a dysfunctional family household. His dad is like this international conspirator, blah blah blah. But then, he becomes a cannibal.
And I think he was for some reason they threw him up as a sacrifice to the the Operation Monarch, MK Ultra
Yeah.
powers.
Well, what seems to me, what I think
Religion.
is probably likely, knowing how these different cults work, especially these incel cults and stuff, is that, like, you got the what do you got, the Order of the Nine Angles, the cult 764 operation that became public out of these 4chan communities. But it's a whole thing where, like, the new MK Ultra of the 21st century operation really relies on these digital chat rooms and radicalizing people by creating target victims who will then do things that will involve them taking pictures of maybe first their themselves doing something embarrassing, and then you jack it up with threats saying that we'll make this go public unless you do the next thing that's going to push the limit even more, to the point that, now I want to see you, like, biting the head off of a cat. Now I want to see you, do something to do you have a child, a brother or sister who's maybe a baby? Let's see you do something to that. And then they just jack it up to the point that the victim either commits suicide or increasingly just pushes it to becoming an abuser too. And I'm getting the sense that this guy was probably already managed by because he was obsessed with S&M, like, the 50 Shades of Grey crap that he was pulling all these women into in the S&M bondage world. He was pulling them all into this stuff, but it seems like he was already getting pulled in himself by handlers that were managing him probably since he was a kid. And they start getting him to, because either he's like, Hunter Biden and him have a lot in common. When I look at Hunter's tendency to take
Except Hunter couldn't act.
Huh?
Except Hunter couldn't act, so they couldn't do it that way with him.
Yeah, maybe. But they're both being rehabilitated, so they're both taking photographs and pictures of themselves doing the most compromisingly, like, embarrassing things that will destroy them. You would think they would know not to take, but they're obsessed with taking selfies, uploading them into hard drives or whatever else, and, like, leaving their computers in places where they're going to get seen. And this guy is also obsessed with, like, taking pictures of himself snorting things, speaking openly in ways that you would think you wouldn't do if you even had half a brain, because you'd go to jail. But he's doing all this stuff. So I'm thinking he's probably got somebody holding something over his head, telling him to do these things, destroying him in a humiliation ritual. And now he's being totally rehabilitated, just like Hunter Biden is being totally rehabilitated. Hunter is being sold as an artist philosopher with mainstream, coverage.
So hey, Matt and Don, what are the chances that I can get Armie Hammer to come on my show so I can ask these questions? Or you think Alex Jones is going to snag him first?
Well, I think you'll lose all credibility with the alt media if you get Armie Hammer to come on your show. You're going to immediately become very suspect then.
This is from Truth Teller. Interesting how the tribe had to deploy their boy Elon to promote a 1 out of 10 movie, Citizen Vigilante. And the kosher star of the movie, Armie Hammer, has himself been accused of rape while supposedly seeking justice against gangs in Europe. Gilchrist of Variety describes Citizen Vigilante as astonishingly bad and a violent, incoherent, morally bankrupt slice of exploitation. Really well. Yeah. That's about it. With Hammer's character being as xenophobic and entitled as the broadest American stereotype. And Russell Doubler would scratch out that American where it says stereo and that Jewish stereotype.
Yeah.
Who delivers self-righteous monologues. It's like they want to stir up more hate against Jews by putting this out.
Yeah. Yeah. And plus it goes against the woke Hollywood too. I mean, to be going against non-white immigrants, and then you throw the fact he's a Jew in there. I don't know. We'll see how it's received, like by most of the film critics, or the liberal film critics. Maybe not so well. You said it only got a 10 or something on Rotten Tomatoes from critics.
10% from the critics, 94% from the audience.
Yeah.
Well, there was a Hasbro machine just ramped up for this to press 90.
No, absolutely. Rotten Tomatoes, the fact that they gave it 94%, when all of the people who watched the movie despised it and thought it was shit. All reviews suck. But then Rotten Tomatoes is propping it up. Elon Musk is propping it up. Like, what more do you need to know that you're being manipulated right now? Like, it's like Standard & Poor's and Moody's giving AAA ratings to subprime mortgages. Go buy some more, right?
I'm about to dig my own grave ever becoming a very popular podcaster because I'm turning on the obvious problem here. Mr. Musk is way, way worse than a lot of people, myself included, thought. And he's now using his unbelievably large platform. Thank you, Isaac Saul, by the way, for daring to put this out there. You know you're going to be shadow banned right now. On clear threats of violence against traitors, political opponents, and invaders, immigrants. And then I'm going to show you, I want to share this to you because I think it's very important. Because something happened to Mr.
I got to go in a few, RB, you know.
Okay.
I'm not quite as bad as Bieta, but it is getting.
I just want to share this, and then we'll wrap it up, and because I think this is important. Now, I don't completely. Oh, stop sharing that, and now start sharing this. I don't completely. Okay, I'm not a Dan Bilzerian guy because, in my imagination, if you wanted a white nationalist to be the general, the back, like General Bilzerian being the backlash, I can see this guy ordering trans people.
And he's got that look on purpose to make him look that way too. He's anyway, going for a certain look there.
Yeah.
Let's watch this, and I'm going to disable my camera so we can go full speed.
You're not playing Dan Bilzerian, are you? Oh no, don't.
I'm going to show you what Elon. This is about Elon Musk.
All right.
Okay.
I feel like he changed. Like they clearly have something on him where they can control him, and there's no way they would let him get to that level of wealth without having control on him.
Well, he made a comment about Israel, and that's when he changed.
How do you hope the current war in Israel and Gaza comes to an end?
This is a very famous interview Musk did with Lex Friedman, where he showed sympathy to the Palestinian people.
I would recommend that Israel engage in the most conspicuous acts of kindness possible. Everything. If you're not going to just outright commit genocide, like against an entire people, which obviously would not be acceptable to really shouldn't be acceptable to anyone, then you're going to leave basically a lot of people alive who subsequently, hate Israel. So really the question is like, for every Hamas member that you kill, how many did you create? And if you create more than you killed, you've not succeeded. That's the real situation there. If you kill somebody's child in Gaza, you've made at least a few Hamas members who will die just to kill an Israeli.
Somebody tweeted something about like Jews are predominantly the messengers of anti-white hate, and he said this is the actual truth or something. It was like something like pretty aggressive, and it was like there were some news articles about it or whatever, and then they started pulling the sponsors, and he told Bob Iger to go fuck himself, and he like took this stand. They marched him over to Israel, and then all of a sudden he was like with Netanyahu and this whole fucking thing, and Ben Shapiro.
Ben Shapiro took him. Could you imagine having to go Bridge Man of the World when you have to go on a tour with Ben Shapiro?
But I'm just telling you that there was a pivotal point there where like he went from the, go fuck yourself
that's
guy.
Right when I saw it. That's right when I saw the change.
I feel like he changed. Like they
agreed, guys. That's when it happened. Because before what he just said there about would be what any normal person would say about what was going on in Gaza. Hey, if you guys want to stop creating more Hamas members, maybe stop killing their kids. As soon as he said that, boom, something happened. There was a click. And that's
Musk has said very many sensible things, but he's also got an incredibly weird background, and he's the richest man in the world. So it's hard to believe anything legitimate about him. I think his mother's a practicing witch.
He's a synthetic personality who's born into a witch. Like seriously, I've done a whole book on this. He's a Rosicrucian cutout. His whole family is tied to dark magic. That his grandpa was directly tied to Crowley. He's part of a Babylon working operation from the 1930s grandpa operation with Crowley and Gurdjieff and the other like black magician intelligence operatives working in Russia and South Africa and Canada. I swear to you, this is provable. He's nothing. He's a synthetic shell of an autistic nothing. There's nothing behind the personality. It's like Trudeau. He's like a Justin Trudeau personality type who thinks he's awesome and loves Trudeau. I don't know this directly, but this guy really does think of Baphomet as an awesome thing.
So is my friend Matt
witches,
So is what my friend Matt McKinley often says. Elon Musk is a fake billionaire with a fake car company, with a fake
military intelligence cutout, operative,
and a fake space program, living a fake life run by the powers that ought not be, and he can't order an apple pie without their say so.
Yes, I agree.
All right. I think we should end it now because Don's got to go. We've been at it for an hour and a half. I've bent your ear long enough, Matt. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Phil and Paul and Mega Ashaba and Let's see who else is there. Albu Kid, thanks for and Razor Brain and Tickle to Death, and thanks all you guys. Trent
Tickle to
Abs.
Death? Okay.
And there's a guy. He's a Due Dissidence listener also. Tickle to Death, really good guy. And anyway, so thanks a lot, guys, for showing up for this show. I thought we did a good job of breaking down the film and pointing out the obvious psychological operation that it is, and who's behind it, and who stands to benefit. And don't play along. Just don't play along. See it for what it is, with eyes wide open. And thanks, guys. Thank you, Don. And where can people find you, Mr. Jeffries?
Substack's the only place I'm not shadow banned. Donald Jeffries at substack.com. I protest. I'm also on X now, tentatively at Don Jeffries, so you can follow me there as long as my account doesn't disappear again like it did for a while there.
And the great Matthew Ehret. Go ahead and tell the people where they can find you.
MatthewEhret.substack.com is good.
Trying to find your bloody banner. I've got so many banners up.
It's okay, dude. It's all right.
and there's E. Michael Jones popping up. Jesse Jett, Chris Erickson, Greta.
All right. Okay, like easiest thing if people go to CanadianPatriot.org, just type that in, you'll find all sorts of fun things and movies and books and stuff and articles.
I think I lost it. It might have self-deleted.
It's okay. It's okay.
I'm gonna make sure I get that back up. But yeah, thank you, Matthew.
Right.
Canadian and
Rising way to end my day.
RisingFoundation.net. Fantastic.
RisingFoundation.net. That's it. Yeah, that's what I was going.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Okay. Bye,
Thanks, guys. Take care. Thank you.
Next time.
Take care.
Oh, thanks, guys, for showing up to this edition Wednesday night movie review. But seriously, if Russell, I told Russell on the members only call in, I told him he should package his movie review of Citizen Vigilante and get it out there as a short or whatever, because it's really brilliant and basically stole all the stuff I was going to use. But he's got more authority in that because he does a better job of it. He has a better way. He's used to this sort of thing, a photo essay, putting all the points together, and he did a really good job of it. And because he's a Jewish person himself, he can get away with saying the protagonist is an anti-Semitic character of a Jewish an entitled Jewish landlord using violence to settle his problems and not feeling any guilt about it, and throwing people out of their homes so they'll get evicted, and using prostitutes, and it was unbelievable. And so I'm telling you, if you do watch it, remember these things while you're watching it. Realize you're being manipulated. This is a great movie to show people how you can be manipulated, how they can trigger that lizard brain in you to make you do horrible things because they trigger certain primitive instincts in you. But you can get through that because you're a human being and you have an intellect. Thanks, Phil. Yeah, night, everyone. Remember, if you want to get to the truth, conventional wisdom is simply conventional deception. So sometimes you just have to go beyond the pale. Thank you. Until next time, guys. Bye.